on the edge.
Literally.
It helps me get my groove on.
Come on. The music. Rock.
Listen up, ladies and gentlemen.
This is Boom Radio.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the Boomba on you. It's not Boomba, Shola Rogers. Apologize. I'm always used to the Boomba mood. Welcome to your Boom Radio NG, reaching you from Lagos, Nigeria. A big shout out to everybody that's tuning in from all around the world. Thank you for being a part of our own world. We're glad that you're here, and of course, it's a special service that we're bringing to you. And when I say service, I don't mean church or mosque. I mean, a gathering of eggheads once again. It's always a pleasure whenever the boss man himself, our Oga Pata, the man with the master plan, Yomi,
set up.
Yomi
Oga at the top. Somebody will fall down. When they say Oga at the top, somebody always falls down.
Ghana. And the beauty of rolling with veterans like Yomi, the older generation of elderly Nigerians, is that you will always have them look out for you in everything you do. They will make sure you do not fall, and even if you fall, they will make you rise again. And again, Yomi Okpakole, thank you for buying lunch for all of us in advance. We're grateful to everything that you have done for us. Yes, we are not alone. You can look at the very handsome faces in studio here. There's a big fish in the building. He likes to stay humble, but when you're big, I beg. A wise man once said, when you're big, you're big. So leave the story. And of course, he's not alone. His entire team is in the building. A big shout out to the man behind the camera there, Mr. Alabi. He said he doesn't want us to see his handsome face, but it's okay, we're not angry. And of course, Mr. Nasif Sanusi, who is also a member of the team. You see, so I've done it, and I've introduced members of the team now to the man himself, the most honorable. I knew I was going to get him. He is humble. He doesn't want to be addressed as such. But for those of you who do not know, now let's get down to brass tacks. There is an assembly of young people who are representing young people at the national level, at the state level, that some of you have not heard about. And he happens to be one of the 3 people that are flying the flag of all the young people in Lagos at the National Assembly. Yes, I said that. They said it's a youth assembly, it's National Assembly in my own book, because what you guys are doing is not a joke. It's something that when people understand and key into it, it's gonna be I don't want to say what came to my mind, but I'm glad that you're already a part of that system. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Mr. Abdulmumin, right?
Yes.
Edidi.
Yes.
And he has a long name that Yomi Okpakole wanted to list out he has about 14 names. Typical Yoruba man. That's what they pack name give everybody. Like say now by name. But it's alright. I have a lot of them too. Yomi, it's always a pleasure to sit down in studio with you.
Glad to be here. And I'm so excited for this public service engagement we want to have.
Exactly.
For the public. And I'm more excited because it is to showcase the youth that they have capacity, and it's also to showcase that they've always had this capacity, and they've also been factored in. Unknown to many, they've always been factored in by the national government. So just like he said at intro, there is the National Assembly in Nigeria, which is for adults, and it's bicameral. That's why you have the Senate and you have the House of Reps. But there exists officially and constitutionally a Nigerian Youth Parliament, of which we have our distinguished guest, supported by a member of his team here. Our distinguished guest, so it's right to call him Honorable Abdulmumin Edidi, who represents the Lagos Senatorial District.
Lagos Central
Lagos Central Senatorial District.
Yes, and again, if you're listening to us, you want to put a face to the name and the amazing people we have in studio, you can actually go check out our YouTube stream. It's live now. We are streaming on Boom Radio NJ's page. We're also streaming on Facebook. The Twitter feed is not going through. I'd like to apologize. I don't know what's going on. We'll look into it. But you can watch the interview now on Facebook and YouTube, of course.
Is our Instagram on? No?
No. We're not streaming to Instagram. Yeah. So that's what it is. And enough of all the preambles and everything. Mr. Abdulmumin Edidi, can we get to, learn a little bit more about your background? Like, where did your journey start from? Which schools did you attend? And how did you end up in this position?
Okay, thank you very much for having us today. It's a pleasure speaking to the whole world on Boom Radio today. My name is Abdulmumin Edidi, as rightly said, and I started my journey from my primary school. I attended Nigerian Air Force Primary School, Victoria Island. Then I moved on to King's College, Lagos, and of course, King's College is known for producing leaders all over the world, and of course, that's where the whole journey started. So I started by doing some, for me it has always been about making a difference, doing things differently to see a new result. And from King's College, I went to Yaba College of Technology where I studied civil engineering. And from Yaba, in Yaba Tech, I did a lot of student leadership and I rose to the top. I represented the students on the governing council of the school. And from there, I went to Kwara State University, where I did my degree in civil engineering as well.
Wow.
And then now, I represent Lagos Central Senatorial District in the Nigerian Youth Parliament, which is a very rare privilege. There are over 2 million young people in Lagos Central Senatorial District.
Wow.
And representing them, it's not a joke. I've been on this since December last year when we were officially inaugurated. And this is the sixth month of our inauguration, and it's been an amazing journey, trying to put the issues that affect young people at the forefront. Even though it's a political season, we are still very much on track. As the Speaker of the Nigerian Youth Parliament, Right Honorable Dr. Azizat Ishao, the first female speaker, she's currently in Kigali, Rwanda, at the Commonwealth Board of Government meeting, representing, of course, Nigerian youths and with some of my colleagues there. So it's been an amazing journey, and I'm glad to talk about this.
It's interesting to hear this, and I'm sure it's illuminating and eye-opening for people out there in the globe, not just Lagos or Nigeria, because there are Nigerians in the diaspora who may not be aware of this, if those who are in here. So I'd like to know, when the Nigerian Youth Parliament itself, what, we have seasons for the Nigerian Assembly itself. So what's the duration for each season for the Nigerian Youth Parliament, and what season are we in now? Season 15, season 7, season 3. You understand? So we can understand that.
Okay, so the Nigerian Youth Parliament started officially in 2008 under late President Umar Musa Yar'Adua at GCFR, and it started just like 109 of them. The first speaker then happened to be Right Honorable Luke Onofiok, the pioneer speaker of the Nigerian Youth Parliament. He went on to become the speaker, the youngest speaker at Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly twice.
Fantastic.
And is currently in the House of Representatives, Chairman, House Committee on Judiciary. He sets the pace for all of us. We also have the likes of Dr. Adamu in the first parliament as well. He was the chief whip, the first chief whip of the parliament, who went on to become the first ever chairperson of the Commonwealth Youth Council.
Wow.
And he's been trying to get into the House of Reps for a while now too. And a whole host of them, including the current APC youth leader in Lagos, Dr. Murita Seriki, is the immediate past representative of Lagos East Senatorial District in the Nigerian Parliament. So it's been an amazing journey. In fact, the first ever, the youngest ever youth leader of the PDP, then under the PDP government, federal government, Honorable I can't put his name together now. He went on to become the financial secretary of the PDP at a very young age, and then a commissioner in Niger State. So there are lots of them out there.
Who have
109.
transitioned.
Yes, 109 every session. The first session I think ran for 4 years, but officially now we run for 2 years.
All right.
So we started 2021 and we'll be ending in 2020.
So this is what session?
You have a
This is the
message.
5th session.
Fifth session.
You have a message already on YouTube. Shedrack Chilaka says, "Good to hear you, my honorable Edidi Abdulmumin. Thank you, Boom Radio, for hosting him. Thank you for
Thank you, Shedrack.
for letting him come through.
Okay.
You know, so."
Okay.
I'm really glad that you laid this kind of background for us, and you've shown us some kind of pathway for people to go from the youth parliament to the main parliament. And there are a lot of testimonies that you have given us right here, right now. And do you have such plans for yourself as a politician or as a technocrat or whatever?
Well, for me, I like to see myself as a technocrat. Like I said, I'm a civil engineer, and I like to put that first. As a matter of fact, in civil engineering, you deal with structures. So I'm a very structural person. I like processes. I like stages.
So riding on that, because you told us a bit of your background, and then it's always good to interrogate this so that futuristically people can understand where this person is coming from. Because there are a lot of leaders now that people did not know their antecedents, and they blab, and then out of ignorance. And when people bring facts, and now we didn't know. So you said at one point in time you were at Yabate, and then you represented on the all students on the governing council. Governing council has to be the management of the institution, but they have youth representative. You were, right? Okay, but I also was privy to the fact that in touching on advancing the cause of development of the youth, which you are passionate about, and I'm proud of you on that, there was what was called Halt Prize. And people didn't know about it. Even I, as old as I was then, I didn't know about it until you brought it to the fore. And many people know that it has been touching life and expanding the cause for youth all over the world. Can you tell us a bit of what happened when the phenomenon Halt Prize came to Yabatek while you were still a student there and a student representative?
Okay, so I think that was about 5 years ago, thereabouts, where we had the Alt Prize. The Alt Prize is a foundation, the global foundation, funded by the Alt family. And it's a $1 million prize for social entrepreneurs every year.
Wow.
So then I was appointed as campus director for Alt Prize in Yabatek. It's a global competition every year. So we created an ecosystem of young social entrepreneurs on campus. It was quite difficult then because, I mean, it was a polytechnic, and so there was this apathy on business or entrepreneurship for students in the polytechnic. I discovered that because when I compare it to what was also done in University of Lagos, there was more acceptance of the project in University of Lagos compared to Yabatek. But we did put everything we could. I mean, we were able to mobilize almost 500 people within 2 years to join the social entrepreneurship ecosystem. And they formed teams, bringing up different solutions to different problems. At one point, it was on energy poverty. At the other time, it was on job creation. So it was a really amazing journey. Some of them are still running with those business ideas till now. In fact, one of our mentors then was nominated for Africa Prize for Engineering. He created a Dr. Yusuf Bilisomi. He's currently in the United Kingdom, and he created this ventilator during the COVID-19 that uses water, not I think doesn't use, I can't, but it was a particular solution.
He had alternative power and
yes,
all of that, and it was clean energy.
Yes.
Wow. Sorry, not to Nasif Sanusi. I saw you nodding when he was talking about the way they created the ecosystem and the Holt Prize and how it was set up in Yabatek. Do you want to chip in something about that?
Yeah.
Please do.
Okay. Thank you very much. The little I would like to chip is that while we were on campus then, there is, like you said, there is this apathy of
from students.
Acceptance.
From
Especially
students.
From
what about management?
From polytechnic students, because in a polytechnic setting, 1 year you are in, the next year
You're out.
So if you come in as ND, by the time you are getting to ND2, you are going out. Then you come back again, HND1, HND2, you're out. So most of these programs, they are like a continuity program. And we find it hard sometimes to get students to continue them on campus. So that's one of the issues we had then.
But was it impactful
Yes,
from your
very
neutral?
impactful. Yeah,
And I'm glad about it. Why I'm saying what I did was I was privy to being part of it twice.
Yeah.
And you guys were strong enough to attract to Yabatek the current deputy governor of Lagos State.
Yeah, Dr.
Then yes, Obafemi. Then he was still a special advisor to the current minister of works and housing in Abuja, and he flew in all the way, and it was part, and he spoke eloquently. You had commissioners, you had bank MDs that were part of it, you had great broadcasters like a treasurer, all being part of it. So it was awesome for me sitting from a vantage position of an elder and seeing what is happening and seeing those who had a party just little by little loosening up and catching the drift of about social entrepreneurship and how to live life the real way.
Yeah. There is also something I'm referring to that hot price.
Please go
There's
ahead.
also something about students, our students of now. It's not that the idea is not there, but they really need both mentoring and a platform to showcase it. So most times when you present this to them, they will be willing to embrace it and take it up.
Okay. I like what you've done. I like what both of you have talked about, and the fact that you all went to Yaba College of Technology, which is a polytechnic in Nigeria.
First,
Yeah, the
But
very
incidentally,
first.
University of Techno,
Yeah.
am I right?
Yeah, so
process.
so
Within the process.
so the plans by Lagos State government and a couple of other governments to upgrade the state-owned polytechnics to universities. What do you guys think about that?
Well, it's a good initiative and it's a good plan. But I am of the opinion that in the walk of life, we have people of different professions. We have degree holders majorly are like the subject expert, whereby the technologists, which Polytechnic produce, they are like the professionals, they are like the
hands-on men.
yeah, on the job. So you can't totally eradicate that. So if you are converting every polytechnic to university, then you are like creating a loophole.
No, point of correction.
They're
If
not
they convert it
changing.
to university,
It's
yes,
about
I understand.
nomenclature and-
University of technology.
Yeah,
Yes.
Which
that's what
means
it is.
another, I think we
Yeah,
still
I'm coming
there.
to that. It has to be a university of technology, whereby you will not create
Yes.
a gap
Yes.
and a loophole in that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it's there. That's
so,
what it
so
is.
that so that there won't be restriction, just like it's in the career development, career path. There will also be no restriction from those people who are professional and practical, from moving from their ND to HND, and then having barrier when they want to advance further. They say, okay, go back, go and do this before. Because I had to also, okay, so let me throw it out. I had to also fight a battle to do my master's at Unila. And I said I was not going to do PGD. I said I was not going to do it. If we are going to be tested, let's be tested. And so the program I wanted to do, we had to do tests, and I came fifth, beating everybody. And then I went in for my master's in public admin without doing PGD. So it's possible, but it's tough. But now when you have University of Science and Technology, it means easily, seamlessly, people can grow in that path, like you said, of part of life to be practical people from youth on to the adulthood. Okay, so let's be back to the main course. Nigerian Youth Parliament. So exists, representatives come from all 36 states of the nation. True?
True. Including the FCC.
Including FCC. So it's just a mirror of the National
Nigerian
Assembly.
Senate.
So do you see it as some form of, since you are an engineer, so you see it as a form of structural mentorship of the legislator for the youth?
Yes, of course, that's what it is. I mean, each of us is attached to our senator. We are supposed to support their work, especially in the area of youth development. And from time to time, we write policy recommendations to the National Assembly. For instance, I also serve as the chairman ad hoc committee on drug and substance abuse control in the parliament, as well as chairman ad hoc committee on research and policy development.
Wow.
So we put forward policies to the National Assembly. The not too young to run bill today that everyone is celebrating started as a motion in the Nigerian Youth Parliament some years ago.
I had a round of applause in the house, in the building.
I don't know who raised the motion, but that is what we know. And then, of course, everything is backed up by advocacy, which was followed up by Yaga Africa and other youth groups to make it a reality. But it started as a motion in the Nigerian Youth Parliament.
So it's worth it. Now,
Yes.
can we have the name, because you represent Lagos, just like others represent other states and FCT, like you just educated us. Can we have the names of other, the two other representatives? I know you mentioned one in passing, but can we have it now so that the average Lagosian, wherever he is, understands clearly, okay, that these are the people and this is where I fall, or where my kid falls, or where my word or sibling falls or can fall?
Okay, so this is interesting for me to say. We went to Abuja in December and we had an aspirant amongst us who was aspiring to be the Speaker of the Nigerian Youth Parliament. She emerged eventually as the first female Speaker of the Nigerian
He
Youth
came from
Parliament.
Lagos.
She's
Oh,
a medical
some
doctor. Her name is Right Honorable Dr. Azizat Hishau. She represents Lagos West Senatorial District.
Any relation to the Yishao that is in the Lagos State House of Assembly?
Yes, she's a niece to him.
Awesome.
And coincidentally, she used to represent Etiosa constituency 2 in the Lagos State Youth Parliament before she moved on to the Nigerian Youth Parliament. And of course, my other colleague, my very good friend, also Right Honorable Dr. Ogidon Abayomi. He is also the former Speaker Lagos State Youth Parliament, and he currently represents Lagos East Senatorial District in the Nigerian
PhD
Youth
or
Parliament.
medical doctor?
Both
Awesome.
medical doctors.
Awesome.
Yes, so I'm the only one who wasn't serving in the Lagos State Youth Parliament. But of course, I've always been a parliamentarian right from school, so it's not a new or strange thing to me.
So which are the 13 local government and LCDAs that fall under your Lagos Central? And what have you been doing since you were sworn in at that senatorial district for the youth? What so far have you been doing? Not what you are going to do from tomorrow, but what have you been doing?
Okay, so Lagos Central Senatorial District is probably the smallest in amongst the other two in Lagos. There are 5 major local governments in Lagos Central Senatorial District and extra 8 LCDAs. So take for instance, we have Apapa local government. Under Apapa, we have Apapa Igomu LCDA. We have Surulere local government, and then under Surulere, we have Koka Aguda LCDA, Itire Kate LCDA. In Etiosa, we have Etiosa local government, we have Etiosa East LCDA, we have Ikoyi Obalende LCDA, and Iru Victoria Island LCDA. We also have Lagos Island local government, Lagos Island East LCDA. We have Lagos Mainland local government, and then Yaba LCDA. So that makes up 13 of them.
Awesome.
Yeah, so there's something I also like to point out about the Nigerian Youth Parliament. So a lot of people talk about youth inclusion in Nigeria. I personally, I'm also a political researcher with Youth Center for Research. It's a global institution. And we did a research in 2020 on youth and political engagements. This covered five countries, 4 continents: Nigeria, Kenya, Egypt, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Brazil, and Pakistan. And what we discovered is that there is actually youth inclusion in most of these countries, except for Egypt, because of the kind of government they run. It's a military kind of government. But there is youth inclusion through what we call the youth parliaments, the youth councils, the student unions. These are all forms of youth inclusion. The other time, the House of Representatives bill on for establishment of National Youth Development Commission came up. We were invited to the public hearing. We put forward our recommendations. That's a form of youth inclusion. It's not until you are the executive governor and you are signing off with a green pen before you know you are being included. for the National Association of Nigerian Students, now, so the students are currently on strike for almost how many months? 7 months now.
And yet
The
association is there.
issue usually is that we as youth leaders, youth representatives, student leaders, we have this platform of inclusivity. But when we get to that table for discussion, what exactly do we do? Do we put forward genuine recommendations, or do we just go to those platforms to project ourselves?
To play to the gallery.
So that's usually the issue when it comes to youth inclusion.
Okay, so I'll have to. This old man has to adjust your name.
Nasif.
Nasif, almost like an Egyptian or Tunisian. Anyway, Nasif. So why has been militating against the youth embracing these structures that are there, but they put their faces off and just want something, something visible and whatever, whereas there are things that can grow them and they can therefore be of relevance and get that visibility when they really get developed. Why has there been apathy?
Okay. First, I will say is that the youths majorly, we don't really have this the zeal to grow through the ranks. First, we just want to wake up one day and probably maybe go for this and be called maybe the honorable.
You want to become an overnight success.
Yeah. That's why we have a lot of youth going to fraudulent activities around. And a lot of youth going into political parties because they just want to contest for something and get it immediately. You start from somewhere. Like in your area, you can start engaging people, maybe even if it's environmental sanitation. Leave a mark. Change things. Let a legacy be left in your own name.
Let people feel your impact.
Let people feel yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, the youth in the area, either the ones just coming up or the ones of your age group, and even the elderly ones, realize the fact that youths are actually doing this in this particular
and they have
area.
potential.
And they have potential, and they are ready for this.
Okay, Tunde, you had told us about the local government and LCDAs and what you poured out your heart about, okay, youth inclusion, whatever. So what has Lagos Central Senatorial District be able to do since the advent of your becoming their representative? Yeah.
So before you take that, there's a comment on Facebook. Victor Olamide Olaleye says, Honorable Abdulmumin, always proud of you, and I trust the future of Nigeria with someone like you. Thank you, Boom Radio, for this interview.
Thank you very much, Victor.
Okay.
Okay, so in Lagos Central Senatorial District, the first responsibility I was confronted with, I'm not sure I've mentioned this publicly before, but I was given the position of Chairman ad hoc committee, Drug and Substance Abuse Control in the Parliament even before our inauguration. That was before we had the Speaker and the rest. Because we saw the issue of drug abuse as a pandemic in the country. I mean, if you invest £1 billion in young people today, it will go without any traces. Not because the money was embezzled, but because the people whom you are investing in are lost to something else entirely. So it is a pandemic, and every one of us in the Parliament is taking it as a major project. It's a major project. In fact, that committee had every other member of the Parliament as committee members. So we've developed the policy, the Nigerian Youth Parliament Drug and Substance Abuse Control Policy Brief 2022. As at last week, I was at NDLEA Zonal Command in Lagos.
Really?
We are going. The chairman of the NDLEA is interested in the project. We are going to be presenting the policy to him next month, as soon as everything is finalized. So that is the first issue we are handling.
Trust us at Boom Radio that we will help you project this as much as possible.
Thank you very much.
To give the chairman of NDLEA the confidence that you're doing what you need to do and you're advocating to several youth, not just
yes.
one.
Thank you very much for that. So the drug abuse issue is at the forefront. No matter any other thing we want to do, if drugs is not controlled, then there's a problem. So for us in Lagos Central, we started off by, I'm driven by three things: offering quality representation, bringing forward opportunities available at the federal level, the state level to the youth, and of course ensuring that our shared prosperity is jealously guided. So as we started off by organizing a webinar which was graced by the Special Assistant to the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports on youth development.
Wow.
I call her Auntie Kemi,
Oh.
Miss Kemi and Melody Ariola, and the Special Advisor to the Chairman Board of Trustees, Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, to talk to young people in Lagos Central and Lagos State at large on the opportunities available. We have something called the Nigerian Online Youth Assembly, NOYA. Any young person listening now, I challenge you to go check noya.ng.
Nigerian.
NOYA.ng.
I need you to say it
Online
again.
Youth
Say
Assembly.
it again. I want
Nigerian
to get
Online
it to
Youth
their brains.
Assembly.
Okay.
There are always opportunities. A lot of people say the federal government is not doing anything, the government is not doing anything. You may think so. What about the little they've done? How have you tapped into it? How have you explored those opportunities to your own benefit?
So that particular webinar, what was the response like from the youth? You felt you had the desire to let them know that there are a lot of things around you that you can tap into. What was the response? Did they catch up to it? Did you have quality audience?
Well, of course, we had
in numbers and in quality.
The event was planned in like a week, and then we were able to get about 100 people to attend, both online generally. And what we discovered is that many of them didn't know about these things. They were just always like, "Oh, government is not doing this."
Can you give us that website again?
NOYA.ng.
All right, that's it.
Yes, that's it. It's a platform for young Nigerians to go interact, tap into opportunities. Yes. So the federal government also has the work experience program. I mean, I was selected for that some years ago. I was attached to a facility management company, being a civil engineer, and for 3 months it was to be paid. Though I didn't eventually go because I had other engagement, but that opportunity. I mean, I didn't have to know any. Some people would think, oh, because the youth represent. No, I didn't have to know anybody. I simply applied. Myself and my friend, we were both selected, but at different batches. But this program still runs. You have the digital skill deal, digital entrepreneurship and leadership program from the federal ministry. Wow. At the state level, where we have the governor who is very passionate about young people, we have various opportunities. Currently, the Ministry of Youth in Lagos State is putting together a youth roundtable across the 57 local government and LCDAs in the state with the governor.
Tell me again.
So this shows that the government is willing to engage with young people. Lagos State Employment Trust Fund is there. It was established under my own mentor, His Excellency Babatunde Raji Fashola, where they invested a whole lot of funds for young people to access for funding of business. You have a business side. Even now it has been expanded. They have skill acquisition. I mean, you could get a loan from LSDA.
I understand there's a center where if you have the idea, you have the skill set, but you don't have the equipment, you can go there.
Yes, that was launched recently by the LCDA. It's part of what we are saying about skill acquisition.
Yeah, because we want to let people know that this is interactive and, of course, that it is real time. That's why I always want to bring this in. And also to appreciate people who take their time to type up messages. So, Victor Olamide Olaleye has also sent another message now. And he said, shout out to Honorable Sanusi. And again, you didn't shout out Honorable Alabi. We will find you.
He's there or behind the scene.
We will find you. And again, Olaolu Shola says, well done, Honorable Abdulmumin. We are proud of you, boss.
Thank you very much.
So, yes, we are streaming on YouTube and Facebook. Search for Boom Radio NG. For those of you who are listening, of course, you're already listening on boomradio.com or on all the other platforms that we are reaching you guys on. There's a lot of things that are going on. We're talking about opportunities for young people. There's noya.org .ng. I put it out already on our scroll bar on YouTube and Facebook for people to see it. And we will create a special message for this reason. We're going to create something that will constantly going to flash and use in our news bulletins for young people to go and check it out, you know. Because the truth is, you can't expect one person to do it all. And one of the things that I have noticed is that we are not as educated as we think we are. Yes, you have your degree, you have your diploma, but you're not educated. You're not streetwise, you're not even book-wise. You just read to pass your exam.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, some people don't want
Read
to hear
and
it,
pour.
but we have to say it.
Read and regurgitate.
Because when I get on social media, I see people writing things. There's a portal in front of your house. You're calling the president. If you understand how governance works, it's not even the governor's work. It's not even the local government. It is your councillor that you should even reach out to first.
Or your community leader.
Yeah, you have them. You know?
Okay.
So, one of the things that I learned from Babatunde Raji Fashola as an administrator is accessibility. You must be accessible to the people. How accessible are you, Abdulmumin?
Well, thank you very much for that question. I mean, this is one of the things that made me stay in Lagos. My mentor, Babatunde Raji Fashola, he always said that if you are elected in a particular to represent a particular constituency and then you relocate from that constituency, then to another place, then you have no business representing that constituency. So for me, since our inauguration, I've not even gone back to Abuja, even though I had so many reasons to go. I've been fully on ground, doing a lot of grassroots work to ensure that the people first know that the Nigerian Youth Parliament exists. We are here to serve you. The first thing I did was to make sure that the gap between myself and other youth leaders in the constituency is bridged. The National Youth Council of Nigeria, the Vice Chairman Lagos Central Senatorial District, my own brother, Comrade Adeshegun Adeyemi, we've been working together, the organizing secretary. One other thing I made sure I did was that the representatives of Surulere 1, Surulere 2, Etiosa 1, Etiosa 2, Apapa, Lagos Mainland, in the Lagos State Youth Parliament are all on board with me. So we are like a caucus, the Lagos Central Senatorial District caucus for the Lagos State Youth Parliament. And so we are all working together. My own very good sister, Honorable Moji Savage, representing Surulere 2, very efficient. We've been working together and doing a lot of things to ensure that the youth are aware of opportunities, the issues affecting the youth are brought to light. Very important.
Okay.
When I came on board, the first thing I did was to ensure that I have my presence in all the wards in Lagos Central. We have 93 wards in Lagos Central Senatorial District, and each of those wards, I have a youth liaison officer. We have 5 tertiary institutions under Lagos Central Senatorial District: University of Lagos, Yaba Tech, Lagos State College of Health Technology, Federal, the one in Victoria Island, Federal College of Science, Fishery or something, and then Federal College of Education, Akoka. I have student liaison officers on those campuses. The idea is for them to fetch us the issues affecting youths and students in these locations. I document them, try to bring them to the appropriate authorities, and then in turn we pass information about opportunities available to young people to them.
Through them.
And to ensure that we made that the reality, we enforced that. We hosted the first ever Lagos Central Youth Hangout in May, where we brought together about...
Where did this happen?
Campus.
Was it the event at campus where there was football and everything?
Yes.
Okay.
Campus mini stadium. And
you said there were about 200 people at that event.
Yes, about 200. In fact, we
physically.
We tried to control it because of costs. You know, a lot of young people want everything free, but we had to. Meanwhile, most of these projects have not been funded by anyone. It's been
I was going to come to funding, but I wanted you to carry on.
Yes, so I needed to emphasize that
a
lot of our leaders think that, a lot of young people are like that. When they go to them, they want to collect one thing or the other. But for us, I can boldly say that right now, I'm going to about 1 million that we've been spending personally on...
Out of pocket?
Yes, for the youth cause in Lagos Central. I'm challenging our leaders out there that they need to take up the issue of young people seriously. If you think a young person is coming to you to collect money from you, it is your own discretion whether you want to give and for what purpose or
to do due diligence on what
they need that money for,
rather than take all of them to be like they're the same.
Hold that thought for 1 second, because we need to dwell on it. We need to play it up. You know, 1 hour is not enough to talk about it, even 2 hours. But Olaolu Shola has another message. If I follow my master's following, Olaolu is Shola Olaolu, I'm assuming. But Olaolu Shola, and it's my namesake, so I can cut him slack. You can't do anything wrong, Olaolu, where I am.
Right.
My name is Shola, too, and you spell it the way I spell it, Sola.
Yeah.
Honorable Sanusi, you have always made us proud through your representation. Proudly Yabatek Emeritus Leader. Well done, leader.
Woo.
That is a message that is there
I'm
for
happy.
generations after your generation to see that
Thank you,
this is who you are. And this is why we're here. We're so proud of you guys, honestly.
Thank you very much.
So back to what you were saying.
Yeah.
And in finishing up, because I don't want you to lose your chain of thought,
Yeah.
let us talk about funding. You know, okay, so at the National Assembly, one of the most popular things that people talk about is constituency development projects. Even that needs a lot of awareness. People think they just give money to the senators and they go and do what they want. People they're forgetting that there's due process. But I'm not saying that some senators are not being funny or House of Representatives. I'm just saying that there's a lot of awareness about that. So, does the Youth Parliament have something similar? Is there any kind of structured funding for constituency projects like you guys have embarked upon? And is there a channel that you guys can tap into for such things, both locally and internationally?
Well, there is funding for the Nigerian Youth Parliament. The Nigerian Youth Parliament is under the presidency through the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sport Development in collaboration with the National Assembly. So usually the funding is just to host our sittings, majorly. But when it comes to constituency projects, of course, it's not possible for the senator, my senator, distinguished Senator Oluremi Tinubu, to now say she's sharing her funding with me, or it's not possible, of course. So they have their own constituency allowances for projects.
Okay.
What we do is, as youth representatives, of course, attached to our senators, to write to them to say, oh, there's this particular project that needs attention, there's this for the youth and all of that, and then they can decide to do that or not. But I haven't written to her at all to seek for anything, because she's been very busy with the project Jagaban. And what we now do is, as youth leaders, we are expected to have initiatives on how to raise funds, how to facilitate things. That's the core of the training anyway.
Okay, so let me write on that. So funding is supposed to be project or purpose driven.
Yes.
Not funding for itself.
Yes.
Okay, so the thing is that you want to come and meet me or you want to come and meet Shola, you should first and foremost have a convincing project.
Yes.
Or purpose.
Yes.
Okay, so you have developed for the Lagos Central Senatorial District a number of purposeful projects
Yes.
for the youth. Okay, but you also talked about having representation, interface here and there, interfacing with member representing your area in the state assembly. What about the chairmen of local government and LCDAs in your senatorial district? Are you reaching out to them? Do you seek for collaboration with them or support for them for what they can see will impact on their local government? And then the same with the senator, because it's like, okay, this is what we're doing, we want to do this, can you please? But first and foremost, I want to know about the local government chairman and whether they exist or you are making approaches. If they exist, tick. If you are making approaches, what are the receptions so far? Reception from them so far?
Like I said, I've dedicated most of my time to this youth work. I've not left it. Today, as I'm speaking to you, I'm supposed to meet with the Oni of Ife on his invitation. I think the speaker is arriving from Kigali this afternoon, and they're going over to Osun State to speak to some of my colleagues. But I have some projects at hand which will not afford me the time to go on that trip for now.
Wonderful sacrifice.
For the local government chairman, some of them have been very amazing, some of them are yet to be as amazing as we want them to be. I would like to shout out to Honorable John Campos, Chairman Etiosa East LCDA. Very
Wonderful
youthful,
guy.
very amazing, very supportive. The chairman of Apapa local government, Honorable Shebanjo, very amazing. She did a work for against drug abuse
Wow.
just 2 days ago in Apapa, massive with the NDLE. Honorable Folawiyo of Lagos Island East, Honorable Lucy Tijani Olusi, my mayor, Lagos Island, and of course the youngest chairman of any LCDA in Lagos, Honorable Abdulrazak Ibrahim, Koka Aguda LCDA. So
How old?
those I can't tell. I don't want to.
But you know,
but
that
I know he's the youngest.
officially and
Officially
authentically is the youngest.
Yes, he's the youngest.
Fantastic.
And
Shout out to you, sir.
yes, so they've been very supportive. We've reached out to other local government chairmen to know what the youth parliament is, what the youth parliament is doing. It's a political season, everybody is busy with one thing or the other, but we are hopeful that they will be just as amazing or even more amazing than those who have been receiving us. And as for the assembly members, it's been a political season. I'd like to shout out to Honorable Larry Afini of Lagos Island Constituency 2. I'd like to shout out to Honorable Eshinlo Kusani, the Deputy Speaker of Lagos State House of Assembly, and also the APC flag bearer for Lagos Central Senatorial District. He's been on our course. He's been very busy because of the electioneering process, but he's shown a lot of interest in our cause, and we believe that he's going to be developing a very workable youth plan for the constituency. We have a whole lot of them.
Interestingly, you have not mentioned the biggest political appointee or political office holder, not appointee, under your senatorial district, who also happens to be the Speaker of the House of Assembly, Femi Gbajabiamila.
I take that. The reason why I guess I've not mentioned is because it's just been everywhere. I mean, you go everywhere, yeah, Baja this, Baja that. Tomorrow is his birthday anyway. Shout out to him and my amiable Governor Sanwo-Olu. Happy birthday in advance.
Are they birthday mates?
Yes, they are birthday mates.
Awesome.
So in fact, currently there's been a tournament going on in Surulere. I just couldn't, because he's almost, I see him almost like the president of Surulere.
What about the Nollywood superstar who doubled as a member of the Lagos State House of Assembly? That's Surulere.
Yeah, that's Surulere 1. Desmond.
Well, we reached out to all of them. Like I said, it's an electioneering process.
Okay.
They are all busy.
Yes, work in progress.
Yes, work in progress. So I trust them to always
to
be
come through.
receptive. He's very receptive of youth. I mean, my brother, the VC Lagos Central for Youth Council, he works with him all the time. So, but the thing is, it's an electioneering process. And
so you understand why there's
yes,
a little bit
I
of
do
like.
understand.
What about the Commissioner for Youth? Youth and Social Development. I hope I'm right.
Yes, we like to call him the youth engineer.
Wow.
I personally call him Baba Ewe of Lagos.
Wow.
Because interestingly, he was able to, I don't know the magic he did. Before in Lagos, the youths were not united. We had like various factions of the youth council, but he came on board, and in less than 2 months, everything was resolved.
I'm going to protest on behalf of my friend. Baba Ewe is Zulu authority. I don't know. I'm Honorable Commissioner. I'm not trying to. I'm not saying we should coffee when you understand.
So, but we can at least stick to the youth engineer.
Yes, youth engineer. No argument. Baba na joke still.
Okay, so I'm happy about that. So all this, why I asked that question is that in one breath, a moment ago, you said youth generally. Not that all of them, but youth generally are oblivious to opportunities of inclusion or whatever around them, whereas they are supposed to see it. So I wanted to feel you without you knowing it, whether, okay, you two are latching on to opportunities that can be like enabler for the things that you want to do for the youth, and I see that you are doing that very well. Writing on an enabler issue, I know that when you did this whole thing while you were at Yabatech, I know that one of the structures, again, you talked about as a civil engineer about structure, loving to do things structurally, by structural process, and that thrills me. That thrills me. It talks to even people like us to reorganize ourselves. Sometimes don't just do something ad hoc. Think through it, create the structure, create the process. Now, so specifically to the point I wanted to make, I know one of those. I think I was with you for about like 2 or 3 seasons. I can't remember. But one institution of Lagos that I saw that you never excluded was that ministry. Is it ministry or agency that many people did not know? I mean, it's ministry.
It's not ministry.
Is it
Office of Transformation
and Creativity or something?
Yes.
Talk to us, sir. Talk to the youth and talk to us about what they can or cannot do through that.
OTCI, I think, is majorly for human capital development within the government, within people in government. So I don't think they really have a lot to do. I'm not sure, but I don't think they have a lot to do with the public generally. I think it's for the human capacity development of the civil servants and the civil service generally. And I mean, doing amazingly well. My very good mentor again, Mrs.
Okay, what's her name?
I call her Mrs. Anjus. Miss Anjus Ademuyiwa. Mrs. Toyin Anjus Ademuyiwa. She's the Director of Creativity and Innovation, OTCI. She was always supportive. I mean,
so push through again, because they just realize that there can be opportunity for the youth.
Yes.
Outside the government structure. But even if it's with government structure, and that's what will lead me to another question. Don't worry, we're just managing time. Is that the youth, as people see it, and like Shola talked about at some point, that sometimes it's online and is wondering, are people educated out there, or are they just talking? Now, the youth at its core includes those in school, those outside school, those in government, those educated, those uneducated. And that's why I tell people, when they were doing NSAS and they said they hijacked the political people, I say, no political person hijacked anything. What you fail to realize, but which we realized when we were youth, and when you are doing protest, is that immediately you do a protest and you get the person you want. We want to see the rector, and the rector is not coming. The registrar is coming. This one is coming. So we don't want to see you. Immediately the rector comes and you address him and say this, and he says, this is what we can do, we can do. You move out. Because if you don't, those who are equally youth, qualified by age grade of 18 to 40, who are not lettered, the organizers, they are authentic youth. They would, and they outnumber those of you online. They will just come in and they're youth. And then the course of what you are pursuing is distorted or completely merged down. So what have you been doing, or what would you be doing? Yeah, I know that it's good to start on this point of strength to move to areas that are more complex, but I hope you realize that they're also youth.
Of course. The youths are not homogeneous. They are youths, and you need to learn to understand all of these people. I mean, a few days ago, I was stuck in the middle of somewhere. I don't know how I found myself there, and then these boys came up trying, the street boys came up and they're trying to harass, and I'm like, guys, calm down. You no be for here.
Okay, you talk the language.
Yeah, so I have a way of switching. You have to know your environment and switch appropriately to your environment. And of course, I was there for almost 2 hours, and we just kept blending. They kept trying to come up with their. I'm like, antics. No, we are all together.
And eventually, you
so
can
yeah,
get
so
them
of
to
course,
listen. Yeah, okay.
Just like the drug abuse issue, we are starting with the secondary schools now. Okay,
so that's where we want to get to. So since you are taking this offer, so tell us about that you have.
Okay, so we're starting with the secondary schools now. I'll come to that. We also know that there's a tertiary institution part. We have the boys on the streets. All of these plans are in plan. When the way we deal with the secondary school students is not the way we deal with those in tertiary institutions. That's not the way we deal with those on the streets.
Correct.
Everything has its own style and approach.
Correct.
But we are starting with the secondary schools, and the reason is because we want to catch them even before they get engrossed in this drug issue. It's safer for us when we already address the secondary school students, they are well equipped, knowledgeable, and ready. And when they move on to the larger society, there is no amount of pressure that will probably push them to drugs. Even if it will be minimal. But if we leave them to come on to tertiary institution where they already have the sense of entitlement to say, oh, I'm independent, you can't talk to me, you can't tell me what to do, then there's a problem. But that's why we are taking it hands-on. And currently we are organizing inter-secondary school debates on drug abuse. It's stemming the tides of drug.
What?
Stemming the tides of
Stemming
drug.
the tides of
drug
that's
abuse.
the
Yes, that's the
focus.
team, general team.
But
So
it's an inter-secondary
secondary
school debate.
Yes.
Okay, why not lecture? Why not quiz? Why did you pick debates?
Well, every time we gather people together to say that don't do this, don't do that, personally, and as a researcher, I do not take that style. I don't take that style. If you study the young people of today, Generation Z, the millennials, we don't want to be told what to do.
Okay, I've come again, and this is Omotayo Olaniwu, and he has dropped several messages in quick succession, responding to the things you're saying. He said, perfect switch. He was responding to when you talked about being on the street and, you know, standing up to the boys on the street, of course, and you stayed with them too, not like you were fighting them or anything. Study the situation and blend. That's what Omotayo Olaniwu said. Then he says, style and approach. And finally now, I'm not saying finally, just now he just said, summit preferably, and this is responding to Yomi Opakunle's question, why not this, why not that, why this, why the debate?
Okay, so...
And he says, yes, we want to know why.
Okay, so the reason for the debate, like I said, is because the Generation Z, the millennials, don't want to be told what to do. You know, just let them know what needs to be done. They'll find their way of doing it. So that's the approach we are using. It's a peer-to-peer education. Let these young chaps, let them go research, let them equip themselves about the issues of drugs. Boys and girls, who is more likely to take drugs? Some people may argue in different forms. So let them bring all of this to the table and argue amongst themselves. That way, we believe they've learned about the issue, they are equipped about the issue, they are able to educate their peers about the issue.
And they've internalized
everything.
The purpose.
Exactly.
Because
so,
that's when they will go and research.
So we don't have to.
So they already have their buy-in. Okay.
Yes,
fantastic.
and these are peers talking to their peers.
Okay.
They learn faster that way.
Okay.
Of course, this is only the first stage.
Okay.
What we intend to do eventually is to ensure that there are drug control clubs in these schools. So the champions from this debate, all of them are champions. There are 32 schools.
Aha, that's what I want to know.
16 junior schools, 16 senior schools,
Fantastic.
including the federal government schools under our constituency.
Fantastic.
We have 3 of them: King's College, Queen's College, FSTC, Yaba. All inclusive.
I saw the list. I didn't see my school. I didn't see St. Gregory's College there. What happened?
It's a private institution.
Okay, government is
Yes,
all these government
institutions. We are starting
fantastic.
with those
It's good.
first.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
So they will be debating this, and they go on to become anti-drug champions in their schools.
Okay.
So they continue the advocacy. The conversation is sustained.
Okay.
So that's the plan.
So when is this thing? When is the debate going to happen? Is it a one-day thing? Is it going? What's the picture of?
Well, we have the preliminary, which
Fantastic.
is coming up this Wednesday, 29th of June.
This coming Wednesday.
Yes.
29th of June.
Where?
Camp Onikon Youth Center,
Youth Center.
Lagos
Okay.
Island.
So
Yes.
perfect because also their center.
That's close to the Yoruba
Tennis club.
club.
Yes. And that's where it's going to take place. Although it's not open to general public because of security concerns.
Yes.
And the final, which is going to come up on 6th of July. Now we are going to be giving out mobile gadgets to these kids alongside other gifts, laptops, tabs.
Woo!
We are partnering with a lot of organizations. I'd like to shout out to U Lessons Limited. It's a platform that has educational tabs and devices for students to learn.
Pre-installed.
Yes, pre-installed. So
and he also has access to the internet.
access to the internet. So they are going to be giving.
But is this SIM enabled or is just Wi-Fi?
Well, I don't know.
But they are
which
tabs.
ones. Yeah, they are
So
tabs.
they're most likely going to be hybrid.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and of course, we are also in talks.
Can you mention the name of the brand again? You're allowed. You're allowed.
Lessons. Of course, they are
You-
doing amazing.
You lessons.
Yes.
So shout out to you
As
lessons.
in you,
Yes.
as a letter.
Yeah.
You dash
Lessons.
lessons.
So quickly, Omotayo Olaniyan says, yes, I understand why it's a debate because they will know within themselves why. And he also says, ADD, I love this, but I won't want it to be a one-time debate because of consistency. So he's saying that this cannot be a one-off. It has to be an annual or quarterly or biannual, but it has to continue. That's what he's saying.
Fantastic.
Yes.
So you said the preliminary will be on the 29th.
29th and
Okay.
the final is on.
So what will happen at the end of 29th, the preliminary? What will happen? You will have how many people left?
We will have 8 teams left.
Okay.
4 senior schools and 4 junior schools who
Okay.
will go on for the final.
So they will be semi-finalists.
Finalists.
Okay,
It's
finalists.
just 2 rounds.
Okay, and then they will on the 6th of July or what is it?
Yes, that's
They
the
will
final.
now have the final.
Yes.
Can we know some of the judges or because people obviously will judge their debates, isn't it?
Yes, some
Who are knowledgeable in all the areas you would have wished the students, the young ones to come up with, and then therefore be able to score them and
Yes.
rank them.
the judges are young people themselves doing
Fantastic.
amazing things everywhere. We have the likes of Ambassador Ibrahim Oladimichi. He's a
Wow.
former member of Lagos State Parliament and a youth advocate. He, in his time in the parliament, he sponsored this bill on gender-based violence, and he's working very closely with the UN now, doing amazing things in schools.
Fantastic.
We have Rafiat Atonda, who is currently part of the European Union's Youth Sounding Board.
Rafiat means female,
Yes.
so you people are
Yes, always
gender
gender
sensitive.
sensitive.
Fantastic.
I have almost a balance on my team.
Fantastic. Go on.
And we have pharmacies, honorable pharmacies, Ayobami Salam. He was one of the youngest aspirants for the APC ticket in Mushin State constituency, and he's a pharmacist. He's a youth leader. He's one of the judges. And we also have Abimbola Abikoye, who is a climate change advocate and a youth leader as well. So these are the amazing people who will be
Okay,
judging.
but
these
no,
debates.
but because I can feel the pharmacy angle, I can feel this one, I can see the no legal person there, as in the lawyer, so that okay, we at the end of the day know that even with all this, if you go off track, this is what the law of your country to which you has
Well,
ahead of you.
the judges are not going to be making speeches.
No, I know.
So and all of these people are also aware of the provisions of the constitution
Fantastic.
on this issue. So really bringing a legal person in may not really be that important anyways.
At least I understand. Okay, so this is wonderful. Can you repeat for us when this event is going to happen, and then where, and then would some people, since entry is a bit restricted, would some people catch up online? Is there
Yes,
possibility?
definitely.
Is there Zoom or is there whatever so that people can catch?
Well, we are not doing Zoom. We are
Okay.
going to be streaming live on our Facebook
Oh,
page.
fantastic.
NYP official. That's the Nigerian Youth Parliament official handle. Check across, but NYP official. And then we have our own group pages, social media pages for Lagos Central.
Okay.
Just search at Lagos Central Youth for all young persons living in Lagos Central Senatorial District. All opportunities are updated there. All events are updated there. And
Please
yes.
repeat these two handles, but fairly slowly,
Slowly this time.
so that people can catch it.
At NYP official
Simple at MYP official.
That's
all
on all
together.
social media platforms.
across all social
Twitter,
media.
Instagram, Facebook.
Yes, the major ones. Those
TikTok.
three. No, not TikTok.
You should get on TikTok too. At least you reach
Yeah,
you reach the
more.
TikTokers.
Okay.
You know. Yeah, because it's for you. Okay, TikTok is for everybody. It used to be for young people. Right now, there are older people on it, so it's fine.
So
Um,
NYP
Official.
official. All
One word.
together.
One word.
Yes, one.
There's
Alright.
the second one. Sorry, sir.
At Lagos Central Youth together.
At
So,
Lagos Central Youth.
Omotayo Olaniyan also says, if we tend to curb this academically, what did you think can be done in the pollutional aspects, which is virtually everywhere? You know, he's talking about the proliferation of this
I'll say just one sentence. Watch out for the Nigerian Parliament drug and substance abuse control policy. Watch out for that. Everything is captured there.
Are we planning like a youth walk or some massive awareness program apart from this debate and everything? Because whatever it is, I just want to say officially that we're keen into it.
We believe in what you're doing. I want
Thank you very much.
help you reach out so many.
Yes, as soon as everything with the NDLA Chairman General Bubamarwa is finalized, I think details on that will be released.
All right. So once again, apart from the social media platforms, which is NYP Official on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, NYP Official
Yes.
at NYP Official.
Yes.
Do you have a number that people can reach you guys on? Do you have maybe like
Email,
but if you
address,
don't, do you have an email or something that,
or
because
website?
again, we're talking about people who might want to ask you questions afterwards, or maybe want to find out more about stuff. So, and again, do you have plans to maybe set up a website or something like that? Is that in the works?
Yes, the Nigerian Parliament website is currently being upgraded. But what I can say is follow at Lagos Central Youth.
Information
All
is
information
abound.
will be there. Now, for Lagos Central, any young person in Lagos Central, you can send us a mail through Lagos Central Youth Constituency at gmail.com. Lagos Central Youth Constituency at gmail.com.
All together.
All together.
Fantastic. I'm sure for those who will listen or rewatch this program on our YouTube channel, they will actually again be able to get it to us. So we're glad that we're not only streaming live on Facebook, we also have a viral YouTube channel that people continue to go back to for history reasons. Now, but I'd like you to talk to the issue of banditry, robbery, and the possible link of drug as the offshoot, as you want to sign off. Yeah.
Okay, I'll use this as my final word. Every bandit arrested has been arrested with one substance or the other. I think that answers the question.
Facts only is what we do, and I'm so happy that we have this kind of people in studio with us. When I said to them, Nasif was like, so me, I'm not intelligent. I know you guys. I know, because they say birds of a feather flock together.
Yes.
And for this reason, we like to say a big thank you to you. Omotayo says, yes, it's everyone's game to play. So we're asking everybody to get on board. Let us fight the scourge of this drug abuse stingers. And when we're talking drug, we're talking substance. It's not just the hard drugs alone. We're talking alcohol, we're talking weed, we're talking a whole lot of things that's being abused. Abused. It's
Drinks
abused.
and
We're talking
everything.
about it, and it's a pandemic.
I know that Shola is
You know,
going to
so-
sign up in a moment because
so-
we must really go out and thank everybody, but not before I say, hey, somebody's just gotten to the house, Jojo Body Beat. You're going to show your face briefly.
Yeah, Jojo, please come.
But I want Tunde to commit to us here and your team that after the debate, you will come here and
Jojo,
tell the
Jojo.
world what has happened and what you think is the potential that is imminent for Nigeria positively.
Yes, surely. We will definitely come. What we work towards is to see if we can come with any of the champions.
Fantastic.
Of the event.
Shola, did you hear that?
I heard
They'll
that.
come back
and
come
of
with
course,
it.
there's a Yoruba way of saying ile delay. Look, it's all good.
Thank you
We're
very
here for
much.
you guys,
Thank
and
you
we will
very
do what it is. And again, it's actually very massive that arguably the biggest bodiophonist, the biggest body music maker, the biggest beat maker when it comes to making music with sounds from your body in the world. I'm not saying it because I know him. I'm saying it because that's what they say out there. You can go Google Jojo Body Beats.
Yes,
In the building. Jojo is in the building. So Jojo, you want to say a quick hello to the people?
It's already
Hello,
saying-
my people there all the wide world, man. It's a pleasure to be here this afternoon or any day, man. My name is Jojo Body.
That's Nigeria.
Love and strength and faith.
The labor of our heroes but shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and mind, one nation bound in freedom. Peace and unity. We'll come back before I go and fail the exam. And then the thing will
All right, that's our show. The guys are heading out now because the news at 2 will start in 2 minutes time, and it's not over. There's going to be much more. I'm not even going to let them because after the news, I need to capture their voices and voice drops for an in-house promo that we're doing. So, and the news is just for 6 or 7 minutes.
Thank you,
so we're bringing you guys back to do that, but it's going to be off air, but it's going to run forever. Whatever you drop here.
My name is Yomi of Makala, and I hope you all had a great time out there. So when we tell you, come and be on the Boom Radio, we know what you mean.
Thank you, Jojo. All right, Omotayo Olanu says, great Jojo.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yes,
Peace. We're out.
Yeah, man.
Woo.